So this is March 5th in Michigan, and I don't know if you guys can really see what's coming down, but anyway, it doesn't look like the Arctic weather is supposed to let up anytime soon, and I'm getting a little bummed. Anyway, hopefully this weekend I'll be like almost 40 degrees, and we're going to be able to start putting our stuff back and restocking that camper, because I cannot wait to get out. Hi, I'm in the house now. It's a little bit too cold out there for me. The snow is coming down like you would not believe on March 5th in Michigan. Anyway, I just thought I'd give a shout out there to all you new RVers. I wanted to do a quick video on selecting your perfect RV. To be truthful, there is no perfect RV, so sorry, no matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many people you see driving down the road and you go, oh, I love that one, I love that one. Or you see somebody else's rig and it's huge and it's got all the bells and whistles. There is no perfect RVer. RV for the RVer. The reason for that is that everybody has a different style of camping or RVing. And that's what you have to take into account. Well, if you're watching these videos, more than likely you've gotten caught up in it. You really want to get outside. You want to get away from the doldrums of city life or what you're currently in. And you just want to escape and explore a little bit and have a little bit of adventure. And so you probably don't quite know what your style is. I know for my husband and I, we have been tent camping and we were perfectly happy with that. We kind of got a little bit older and backs started creaking a little bit, and putting up that tent in the rain became quite a bit of work. And we thought, well, maybe we'd like to explore some wilderness, like up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, or go out west where there could be bears or critters. And we just decided that we wanted more of something that we could tow behind, that we could take more gear with us. And so one of the things that you need to think about is as you enter into your RVing is, number one, what on earth are you going to tow that trailer with? That is your first and foremost answer that you need to have. And for us, what we had is a 2010 Ford Explorer. It was an Eddie Bauer, so it was a bigger vehicle, but it was a 6-cylinder, and that is what we had. And it did have a tow package on it, so even though it was smaller, it could tow. Our tow limit was about 5,000 pounds and 5,500 pounds. And that, of course, when you start talking tow limits, that is also all your cargo that you put into the trailer that you hook behind your vehicle. So we had decided, well, we didn't need anything really big. We just wanted like a tent camper, something that, a pop-up, something that we could tow behind and pop up and camp in. And we were very fortunate. We looked at a lot of used ones. Many had a lot of mold issues, canvas issues, and I have to give you a heads up on this. When you're looking at tent campers, it's extremely important that you look at the lift system and also the roof of that tent camper. If there is any sign of water damage or leakage, more than likely there is mold or mildew into the canvas. When I had a tent camper to replace the entire canvas on a very small pop-up, averaged about $1,000. So you have to take that into consideration. But so we got our tent camper and we took it out, and I found it at an estate auction, and very good deal. This thing was pristine. It had a little shower, and I call it a porta-john, but it was one of those Thetford potties. And so it had a queen bed on one side, a king on the other, and a dinette. This thing was a tandem axle Jayco pop-up. Anyway, so we loved it. We went camping in it, and it was the talk of the town as to how long it was, and it was quite heavy. And we realized after the following summer that we were setting it up, because it had the hand crank, that we were almost having heart attacks just setting this thing up. So maybe for a young person, I would say it's great. And I understand that some of the tent campers that they have now actually have power lifts, which we may have stayed with one maybe if we had had a power lift. I don't know. So anyway, we quickly outgrew that and realized that that was not what we wanted to camp in, that we wanted a hard shell, but we didn't want it that big because we really liked the campsites that we were getting with the pop-up. I had to go get my coffee. My throat was getting a little dry there. But the next thing that you want to really think about when you're looking for any kind of camping tow behind is how many people are going to be going with you. Are you a single person, or are you a couple, or do you have a family? Do you have 3 kids or 4 kids? The size of the amount of people that you need to sleep is going to greatly decide for you how large or what, maybe even what type of rig that you're going to want to get. The next thing that we encountered is, since we wanted to upgrade or rig, what you have to be careful with is shopping for those campers. When we were shopping for smaller couple campers, as they were called, we found one, and I'll put some pictures on here. It was a 195 RV Jayco. We really like the Jayco products. They seem to be well made. I know there might be some people that have had different experiences with Jaycos, but we've had nothing but wonderful experience with Jayco and their warranty. If you've had issues or have any other insights or other brands that you prefer, please comment below and let people know. Give a shout out, even if it's not friendly towards Jayco. I'm not promoting any one brand, so it just happens to be the brand that my husband and I really like. So we were shopping for to get out of the pop-up, and we happened to find the 195 RV, which is a perfect little couples camper. It had a queen bed, a kitchen area, little dinette, enough for 2 people maybe. It was quite small. It had a nice wardrobe and a full bath, and we thought that was amazing that we could I think there's some sirens going by. If you hear that, I'm sorry. But so we thought that was amazing. And when we got into the camper, we were sold, hey, it's well within the weight range of your Explorer. You should be able to tow this with the Explorer. And it was a little over 3,000 pounds, I think 3,200 pounds. So it was not that heavy of a camper. However, because it was an enclosed space, you're putting more pots and pans, more clothing, more supplies, food, etc. So that weighs down your rig. And what we found real quickly is that even though our Explorer could tow that rig, that it was not a happy tow vehicle. It really worked it out, and we did not want to destroy the transmission or the engine of that vehicle because it was a good vehicle for us. So we went out, and that was another expense, is we had to upgrade our tow vehicle. So we found a Ford F-150 to use to tow it, and it was very happy. It towed like night and day. We did use a weight distribution bar on it. We did purchase that even to use with the Explorer, and a sway control. I figure you cannot shortchange safety going down the road. I know some people do not use sway control and weight distributions, but quite honestly, I've seen quite a few travel trailers that have flipped over or have been into accidents, and safety is just utmost important when you're doing this. So we used that for a season. We traveled down to Texas, and we took my daughter because we were excited. We were like, well, we got the queen bed, and we got the little dinette that will change into a twin bed, so we can boondock on the way down in Missouri, and we don't have to pay for a hotel or sleep in a hotel bed going down there. However, my daughter is, I think, 5'8.5", 5'9". She's a tall girl, and she was excessively uncomfortable on that little twin change out. We did stay at a casino, and at that time our truck was used but newer, and I'm so glad that we did because the truck broke down, and my husband had to spend the day in Joplin getting it repaired while my daughter and I stayed behind in the travel trailer. So even though we were separated, we did not have to sit in the shop waiting for hours for the vehicle to get done. My husband did that graciously for us. But which we'll talk at a different video about travel, safety, and breakdowns. So anyway, it did the job. We got down there, but we found with the third person that it was extremely cramped, and we were kind of sucking in our guts to get by each other, to get to the bathroom, and we were on top of each other, and we even lamented how we felt like we even had more space with the huge pop-up that we had. But we were extremely grateful that we didn't have to sit there at night and crank it up and set it up, and that it was a lot less work to set up. So we ended up reaching back out to our RV sales team, and we explained to them, you know, we thought this was the perfect camper. It was brand new. It was a 2017 Jayco 195 RV. And, you know, we said we just made a horrible mistake because we realized that it just was not big enough for us, and it was not comfortable for our use and what we do. We did take it up north, and we had a blast. For a single person, it would probably be an amazing camper for you. Very easy to tow. easy to back up, very simple to set up. It is a single axle trailer, so there was nothing wrong with it. It just was not a good fit for us. So again, you need to think about how many people are going to be in that rig, how you're going to use it, and what your budget is. And what are you going to be RV resort camping, or are you going to want to visit the state parks and national forests? I will say that there are multiple state campgrounds and national forest campgrounds that we have been to that are just absolutely amazing. They're a little bit more rustic. The sites are a little bit smaller. So if we had initially selected a 40-foot rig, 38-foot rig, there would have been absolutely no way we could have fit into the sites that we have. So again, we wanted to stay smaller so that we could explore some of those campgrounds and not limit ourselves with resort-only camping. So the dealership, after we explained to them that we love the 195 RV, but it just was not for us, they ended up working out a deal, because when we got into it, at a show price cost, and which was marked down, and then they marked it down a little bit more, and so it ended up costing us for the 1 year approximately about $3,000 for the use of that. But I know some people would say, oh, $3,000 mistake. It really wasn't, because we were able to kind of figure out exactly what kind of camping and how we moved about the trailer, how we used it, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and what we really wanted. So we looked at many different manufacturer brands, but we ended up settling on another Jayco, which was a 24 RBS, and we liked it. It had one single slide from tongue to tail. It's 28.8 feet, which was about 8.5, almost 9 feet longer than the 195 RV, but it was still small enough that we could still get into a lot of these smaller sites at federal campgrounds and state campgrounds. So it met our criteria size-wise, length-wise. It had the single slide for the dinette, which we love because it just makes the living space a lot bigger. When we're parked, we don't have to sit there and suck our gut in and kind of try to make it down the skinny little aisle to get to the bathroom. It is a 2018, so it has a lot of bells and whistles. What we liked about it is that it has a very large freshwater tank. I think it's like 42 gallons, and then it was 72 gallons total, and a fresh water that we can take with us. Now you want to remember that fresh water is approximately, I think it's like 8 pounds per gallon. And so, you know, even though you get a larger tank, you're adding that much weight to it if you drive down the road with it. It also has a large black tank and a very large gray tank. I'll have to get the link to the specs on that one. But it seemed to be made more for dry camping or boondocking. And the only thing it's missing, it really is solar. But we have found it's also one of Jayco's 3-season campers, and so it's got the enclosed underbelly. So, and then some of the heat from the furnace will actually help keep that underbelly warm. So, you know, we can go winter camping, which we have, and in a future video I'm going to post our experience in the snow at Mackinac City, which is coming up this week. But it is so much fun. We finally got into the perfect RV, and I cannot be happier with it. We've gone to RV shows and seen some amazing fifth wheels. We go, wow, we could just live in this, you know. If we get out of the needing to park in a small campsite like federal land or something like that, campgrounds, then we may go for a bigger rig eventually in the future, but not anytime soon. So when you're considering the rigs, once you figure out what you're towing with, then you can move on and decide how big of a rig that you can have with that tow vehicle. You have to simultaneously, as you're doing this, sit down and figure out what your budget is. You know, do you have $100,000 to spend on a tow vehicle and a rig? Or do you have 10,000? You know, so all those things are going to be deciding factors when picking out your rig. I have enclosed the pictures of the various rigs, and I'm going to put Jayco's site down on the bottom with the specs of each one of the rigs that we've had, minus the pop-up. Unfortunately, I don't know as if I can find anything on that because it was like a 1990 Jayco, I think a 1904 or 1906 tandem axle Jayco. It was a big one, and I mean I can just show you pictures of that. But anyway, my biggest advice is initially to work within the manageable budget that you have. If you have a sedan and it can tow something, you find that it is okay to put a hitch on it, go get yourself a small lightweight pop-up and just get out there and start camping. And that will kind of get you out there, enjoying nature, enjoying the campgrounds, exploring and deciding whether or not this activity is really what you want to do. Even there's a lot of good deals out there on used campers. If you already have a truck, figure it out from the specs what it can tow safely. You always want to stay about probably a good 1,500 to 2,000 pounds less than what the maximum tow rating is. And that way you're comfortable going down the road, and if you got a little extra gear, it's not going to make much of a difference. But anyway, the best rig is the one that you can afford and the one that'll work for you to get out there and start exploring. Life is a grand adventure and it's meant to be enjoyed. So enjoy. Okay, so in one of my upcoming videos that I am going to be explaining how we safely RV with these two guys. And when we go camping, some of the things that we do take so that they don't get bored and that everybody's safe and they're not terrorizing the campground. There are certain safety things when you do take your pet RVing and certain documents that you should have. Please like and subscribe below and click on that little tiny bell that's up in the corner so that when I do post that video, you can be made aware of it. Anyway, this is Teresa and it's Operation RV Adventures.